we have to talk more about Intel. And in fact, somebody knows exactly where I was, is Bill Baruch, because he was around the corner from me up in Wisconsin. Intel having its worst day since 1974. I mean, Jason, I don't even think you were born yet.
I wasn't.
Bill Baruch just bought the stock a few weeks ago. Not trying to rub that in, Bill. He joins us now by phone. Intel has lost a third of its value in 2 days, Bill. And happy Friday on that.
Yeah, happy Friday. I'm going to enjoy it a bit more here. I'm heading up to Wisconsin right now myself. So, great. We sold Intel today. And this was a tactical play, a little bit of looking at foreign policy, potentially the probabilities of Trump in the White House. We bought this at about $33 a few weeks back, and it was our smallest position in the portfolio. And so 30% down today, I'm looking at it as the numbers don't make sense from a portfolio position anymore. Even if this thing gained 20% tomorrow, it just doesn't even move the needle for us. I really echo what Jim Cramer said this morning. The conference call, Gesslinger was just monotone, a lack of enthusiasm, and you know what? This job cuts, no dividend. It's all a little too late, and it's just, you know what? It's just a disaster. Let's just call it a disaster.
Okay,
I want to get away
Bill,
from it.
Let me be direct, and I know we got an interview coming up, a taped interview with Gesslinger. They rolled out a little bit. It'll be on, the whole thing will be on Closing Bell with John today. Pat Gesslinger, I don't know the guy. I don't have anything against him. He's made, what, hundreds or over $100 million in compensation in the last couple of years while they're laying tens of thousands, more than 10,000 people off and losing a third of investor value. Bill, Intel, and check this out, guys. Intel is worth 5% of NVIDIA. That's an RBI, random, but 5% of NVIDIA from one of the world's formerly greatest. Does Pat Gesslinger need to go?
You know, I don't want to make that call. I'm not even a shareholder anymore, so that's not my thing. I'm just going to step away from it. It's a disaster. It's not what we expected, managing our risk, and it's about a 30 basis point hit to portfolios. I took that cash today. I think, as you echoed what Tom Lee said, with the VIX jumping like this, there is opportunity out there. I've taken a little bit of that cash and reinvested it already somewhere else.
So, look, I'm going to give you another RBI. All right, the stock price of Intel is now where it first reached in 1997, 27 years ago. Again, RBI. Now, what's happened along the way? You go back 10 years ago, and I forget the CEO's name, Kazanich, something like that. He got into trouble with the board. While that was going on, operationally, Intel took its eye off the ball, and AMD ate its lunch. Couldn't get those 10-nanometer wafers out. Now we're at like 3 nanometers and going lower than that. What Gesslinger did, and I want to give him credit for this, before I kind of sweep his legs out from under him. He made a choice. He said, here's what we're going to do. We can't catch up in that race, so we're going to get in the foundry business. Look, he had very limited choices. He made a choice. I compliment him on that. I think we're seeing that it's a failed strategy. Here's why. Yep. If you're building a foundry while you're still a chip designer, you are in competition with your customers. That's very, very difficult. If you're a customer going to Intel for foundry work, how do you know that Intel isn't going to prioritize its own chips over yours? How do you know Intel isn't going to steal intellectual property? So, look, he made a choice. We're clearly seeing it was the wrong choice, but I got to tell you, he didn't have much options. I don't know that somebody else would have done a better job with what came out of the Kazanich.
And I want to be clear, too, a lot of that compensation is tied to stock performance, so there's a chance. I don't know how much he'll actually end up with. But I think the broader point is he's making big, bold bets. If they were paying off, and maybe they will, but right now, Rob, you got Intel shareholders, one of the world's great companies, Intel inside, dude, you're getting a Dell, and the stock's down, saw a third of its value in 2 days.
Totally get it. Probably rightfully so. We sold that a couple years ago. We did it on the show, maybe it was a year and a half ago. And that was the notion of getting out of capital-intensive businesses, of which Intel is one. So we are in the semi space in a capital-light way. We own chip designers, equipment manufacturers with higher margins, stable profitability through cycles. All these are still cyclical, but if you're cyclical and you're making these big CapEx investments, you are absolutely exposed.
Yeah, and maybe just go for the semiconductor. Bill Baruch, we're going to let you go, my man. Thanks for popping on. Maybe I'll see you up in Wisconsin I'll buy you some beer and some cheese curds. Bill Baruch, thank you very much.